Wow. What a game. I mean, I just want to start off by saying Man United this season, for a neutral, and I've had people tell me this who are neutrals, have been the most entertaining team to watch this year. I mean, every single game, whether for a good reason or a bad reason for United, I think the best game of the season was Bournemouth 4-4. And the game last week, I mean, arguably, for us, was probably our best game of the season. Maybe not so much for a neutral. I just want to start off with Arsenal before I get into Man United. I hate, obviously as a United fan, I hate Arsenal, hate Man City, hate Liverpool. They're the three, yeah. They are three derbies. I hate Liverpool the most, by far. But Man City, I probably hate second, and Arsenal I hate third. But Arsenal and Man City are interchangeable. The thing is, I'd rather Man City win the league this year out of all three of them, right? Because, one, I just hate Liverpool. Two, Arsenal, they haven't won in so long, it's funny. I just want it to keep happening. I want them to keep losing, still not win a trophy. It's just funny for all us other clubs. It's the one thing we can all banter about, all the teams, is how Arsenal can't get over the line. And I just hate them anyway. Some of their players I think are so overrated. With Man City, you saw, I actually like Haaland. Do you know what I mean? I actually like him as a person, as a player. There's some Man City players I hate, but I don't really tend to hate Man City players as much. And Liverpool players I just despise, and I just despise the team. I just hate them. But Arsenal's very similar to Liverpool with the player side of it. I'm gonna start with Saka. Saka, one of the most overrated wingers ever, right? I was not say he's bad. He's actually a really good winger. He's one of the best in his position, I'd say, but he's not world class. Arsenal fans label him as world class. Not just Arsenal fans. Other people have labelled him as world class. Talk about him as if he's some next, on Yamal's. He is nowhere near on Yamal's level at all. He was never on Salah's level when Salah was doing well, and I think Salah is slightly overrated. Probably it's bias, but even Salah, he's had some world class seasons. You can't deny. And with Saka, he's one of those players that a lot of the times he plays well throughout the game, keeps the ball, attack players, cut in. He's had some seasons where he's got a lot of goals and assists, but if you look at his record over the past 18 months, it's terrible. I know he's had a lot of injuries, but his numbers are dreadful, and he's never the scapegoat for Arsenal. It's always other people, and trust me, it should be other people, and I'll get onto that in a minute. Every time he puts an England shirt on, I guess he plays well, but then there's no one fighting for his position. I mean, I know you got Palmer and Foden who can play out there, but they're both better in the middle. And yeah, he offered nothing today. He was shocking, and there's too many games I watch where Saka just doesn't do enough at all. For someone who's supposed to be, this is my point. If he's world class, he should be putting up more numbers. I understand the game's not always about numbers, right? But when you're a winger, it is. When you're in the front three, it does matter. Right, I just don't think he's in that category. He's in the category below the best category. You got the best, and then you got below. I mean, if you actually list the top five, he's probably in the top five, and maybe that puts him world class. But maybe that's just the standard of football at the moment. Not necessarily his ability. I just don't think there's many world class players out there anymore. Back in the day, if we go back 10, 15 years ago, to be world class, there's probably 5 in each category for world class. Whereas now, there's probably 1 or 2, I'd say. Next person, Victor Gyökeres. Oh my God, is he laughable? He is an absolute donkey. That bit at the end, right? 96th minute or whenever it was, there was a little tussle. Could have been a foul, but might have been soft. He goes for on goal. To his right, I think he's got 2 players coming into the box. It wouldn't be an easy pass because the ball was bobbling. But fucking hell, does he make it? He either shoots, and I think Lamens does well to get out and make himself look big, or he plays it across. And do you know what? He's that shit. I couldn't even tell whether he was trying to shoot or play it across. I'd probably say trying to play it across. But fucking hell, he just loops all the way back post. And he's just got a spanner foot. He doesn't offer anything. And yeah, I mean, I fucking hate Havertz. I think he's rubbish, but he's better than him. In a big game, Havertz would bring more to the table than Gyökeres would, And yeah, I think, and then lastly, I just get down to Arsenal as a whole. I just think they play such shit football. There's certain games that I watch them, they play okay, but they're not they're not ballsy enough. You know, you had these Man City teams that have dominated them, and United teams and Chelsea, and they've got these electric players that score. They're not afraid to take people on. At least with Salah, I fucking hate Salah, right? I think he's over. I hate him. I think he's slightly overrated, but he's still definitely one of the best right wingers we've ever had in the league. Like, I will say that. Probably the best, really. I mean, if you're counting Ronaldo as a right winger, I would pick Ronaldo over him. And Ronaldo did predominantly play on the right for United, but we're not going to get into that. Salah at least will get you goals and he'll have a go. You know, even though I think he kicks the ball weirdly and has no technique, he will have a go and he'll score. He has scored some good goals. But Arsenal, they just... Odegaard, he's another one. I knew there was three. I was trying to think of the third, and I was just going to go straight into the Arsenal team. Odegaard, he is... I remember this time 3 years ago. He had a really good season 2 or 3 years ago, Odegaard, right? And all my mates are saying, he's much better than Bruno, much better than Bruno. Like, because everyone just hates Bruno. If you're not a United fan, you hate him, right? He's the most underrated player. And I'd be like, no, he's just not better than Bruno, bro. Bruno has consistently done it since he joined the club. Yeah? And people used to say Bruno in big games. No, he does turn up in big games. Final against Man City, unbelievable. Right? Last week, unbelievable. The game today, like, done well. I didn't think he played bad, but, you know, played well. And Odegaard, I think he actually has been better since he's come back from his injury. I'll give him that. But he don't turn up in big games. There's not one big game that he's turned up in. And same with Saka, really. I just think, yeah, if Bruno was in Arsenal's team, they would have won the league twice by now. To finish off, I was saying with Arsenal as a team, they just... The 2 goals they scored today were both shit. One was an own goal. The second one was like some scruffy thing from a set piece. Shock. Now, I do know United... I think there's a stat, actually. I think United they definitely... A couple of weeks ago, United had the most set-piece goals in the league. I think we were on 13, they were on 12. They've probably overtaken us now. But we're in a different... You know, they're supposed to be... They've been leading the league for the past 3-4 years, or in the mix. We haven't been anywhere near it, you know. We finished 15th last season, so if you want to go down to technicalities, you know, we should be playing a bit more on the break. You know, we haven't got the players to do it, but... You know, it's just embarrassing. Like, they will go down. If they manage to win the league this year, which I don't know what's going to happen now, they'll go down as one of the worst ever champions. How can you be a Premier League side who wins the league, right, where one of your front four won't get in the player of the season, or team of the season, sorry. Like, you look at all the team of the seasons there's ever been, and whoever the champions are will at least have 1 or 2 in there. Right, and they won't have any. Not at the moment. They'll have the whole backline. Well, they'll have Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, and Raya probably, and they'll have Rice for definite. But they won't have fucking hell. Who out their front three are going to be in it? They're not going to be near it. They won't even get the second team. First team would be Haaland, Semenyo, Rogers with Bruno. Second team, Igor, Thiago, Mbeumo. Who else has been hitting? I can't even think off the top of my head. I've had a few beers, like, so I can't even think. But point, you know, you get the point, like, yeah, I come on here to talk about the result of United, but I just have to get out of the way because, you know, I haven't made many videos and I just want to get my opinion across and what I think, and I just think it's a shame that I don't think City. I think they'll still win because I don't think City have what it takes to catch him. But I'm pretty sure they got to go back to the Etihad in April, so that'll be a big game. If they start choking now, Arsenal, it'll be so funny. I'm here for it. You know, I hate Man City, but I hope they win the league. Or Villa, obviously Villa, I suppose, are in the mix. I don't think they will though. Anyway, on to United. Well, this was a big game for us. I mean, next week is the biggest out of the 3, in my opinion. I'll get onto that in a minute. But last week, we're playing a City side that, let's be honest, it's mad how high the standards are of Man City because they're still in the top 3. But they, you know, for their standards, they haven't been on it at all. And so I would say a poor City side and an injured City side. You know, they've lost a lot of their back line or their centre halves. You know, we're at Old Trafford, crowds behind us, and yeah, don't get me wrong, that was one of our best performances I think I've seen probably since Fergie left. Like, it was amazing. But you've got to look at the young defenders they were playing, and like how Man City have always been like that. As good as they've been in possession, there's been a couple seasons in their reign where they've been good defensively, don't get me wrong, but they've always been able to get, like, there's been so many games. I remember Newcastle, I think, drew 2-2 with them once, right? And they absolutely battered City in the first half. It was when St. Maximin was still there, so would have been a couple of years ago, and he just ripped them apart. But we always did it under Ollie with Dan James. Dan James was the first name on the team sheet against Man City because he's just so good against the high line. But yeah, they've always been able to get. So I think the difference this week was like, are we gonna be able to score against? We're not going to get as many opportunities, which we didn't. We didn't get as many this game, and break down, because they are such a well set up team. Like the first half, we really struggled, I think, to break them down. Like, remember, the first goal came off a Zubimendi error, which we pressed well, mind. Like, I'm not saying I think we pressed at the right times, and that's something we've never been able to do as a top 6 team, if you want to call us a top 6 team, which we obviously still are. We've never been able to press very well at all. Never press together. Don't press enough. Don't run enough. And in the 2 games I've seen us play, we have sat back at the right times and pressed at the right times, if that makes sense. Like, did you see at the end of the game then when it was 90th minute, right? And normally teams sit back, which, okay, effectively we were sitting back at the end. Well, we were sitting back throughout most of the game, but you park the bus when you're up, and I've always said there's no point parking the bus because you're inviting pressure on, right? And technically, the second goal you could say came from that. I mean, it was a set piece, but we were sat back, they were hammering at us, and they were getting corners. But there was a good 2 minutes in that extra time where we were on them. We were absolutely on them, and they were like shaky and didn't want it. And it just proves, like, when we pressed and Zubimendi gives the ball away for the first goal, and it's just so nice to see. And and not only that, we got quality players. Like, we had Wout Weghorst on loan, right? I mean, he scored in the final against Newcastle, and I always used to say, he's not bad, is he? He works hard. But as a striker, you don't want to be saying that, do you? Like, yeah, you want him to work hard, but they're your front 3 are the 3 players that they need to work hard, because everyone needs to in this modern game. But they got to have some ability, and they got to score goals, whereas Weghorst didn't, But, and Buemo, man, having him up top is amazing. Like, obviously, my thoughts on Sesko from last week's video, but I think Sesko will eventually, he will get better, and I think he's not done as bad as people say. And Buemo, Premier League proven, he's got the mentality. Like, when you just know when someone signs for United and he's just the right one. Like, I just knew, Cunha, as good as he's been, I thought he'd do well because how well he's done it in the league, but he had more of an attitude problem with Wolves, didn't he? And I just thought maybe, having an attitude problem is a good thing because it means you've got something about you. Do you know what I mean? But it can also go the opposite way. But I'm not. Every time I see, Cunha didn't start last week, didn't start this week. He comes on. He's like a Jack Grealish. He just draws fouls. He keeps the ball so well. Quick feet, quite strong as well. Technically amazing. And I can't believe I've actually heard some slander towards Cunha this year to do with numbers. Now, I know I've just brought up numbers against Saka, but Saka's been in the league for like 8 years now, or however long it's been. And he's been put in this world-class category, and he don't put the numbers of world-class wingers. Now, I'm not putting Cunha in the world-class category. He's just a good Premier League player who deserves to be starting in a top 6 side, which is why he signed for United. And he has shown, this is what annoys me with some people who talk about football. They don't watch the game and analyse the game and see what people do. That's why, if you actually analyse Sesko and see what Sesko's done, like, I know I'm contradicting myself because I've just said about Weghorst doing good stuff but not scoring. As a striker, you have to score. As a front 3, you have to put up numbers. Unfortunately, whether it's assists or goals, you have to put up numbers. Doesn't matter how hard you work, doesn't matter how good you are technically. If you don't put numbers up, your team will never win, or you won't get viewed as an amazing player. Now, Cunha is just signed for his first big team and has looked amazing already. Like, yeah, he hasn't got the numbers like Mbeumo has, but he's still, I think that was his 5th league goal? Which isn't bad, He's on track for getting just under 10 if you're going off average, which you'd want him to be scoring more than 10 goals, obviously. But I think, what he's been doing, the way he holds the ball, and you can tell he's got a really good football brain. He takes that shot so well, and that's what Arsenal are lacking. They don't have anyone who can take the scruff of the game by the neck. Apart from Declan Rice is probably the only one. But you don't really want your 8 to do that. You do, your 8 needs to be box to box, needs to be scoring some goals. I'm not saying that. You can't rely, your number 8, you're not relying on him to get more than 10 goals a season. You want him to be scoring about 7 or 8 goals a season. You'll be happy with that. They haven't got anyone like that. Nowhere. Trossard is probably the only one. Trossard's the only one, I think, but he's 33. I think he's better off he's one of those players that are better off the bench. Saka never takes a game of scruff his neck. Gyökeres never is going to. I think Jesus is decent, but Odegaard doesn't take the game by the scruff of the neck. Apart from, you can say about Newcastle when he put that ball in, but not often. Lamens, I think he could have done better for the second goal. When it's all scruffy like that, it gets a bit shit. I wouldn't say it's his error. And, the Arsenal are dangerous from corners, and I think he dealt well. A lot of the corners he done well. And it's little things that you think should be basics for that level of goalkeeping. But what we've actually seen from a lot of Onana and a little bit of Bayunda is they're not doing the basics. When the ball's coming in and they're under pressure, just catching it from a corner. It's so basic. I mean, I play in goals sometimes for my team, and in our level, you there's not many of us who can do that. And Onana was making more mistakes than I bloody do, and I'm not the best at coming out and claiming a ball. And he made a good save when Saka went near post. You think, keepers should always cover their near post, which they should. But Onana didn't used to do that. So it is an improvement. He's doing the things that goalkeepers of the Premier League level should be doing. And that's fine. I'm not saying he's unbelievable. I'm just saying it's nice to have a secure goalkeeper, because we haven't had that since De Gea left. All right, to be fair, De Gea was prone to a few errors as well. But, I'm not going to slate De Gea. He's my guy. I fell in love with United through De Gea. And being a goalkeeper myself, so he's a legend to me. But yeah, we just haven't had that in a long time. Maguire and Martinez, they are excellent together. They actually have a really good record. I don't know the stats, but I remember hearing someone saying before the Man City game or after the Man City game, that would have been their 6th clean sheet together. But they haven't actually had many starts together. I don't think they've had more than 10 starts together. Right, and they've had 6 clean sheets, I'm pretty sure. You'll have to fact check me. I think it was 5 before the Man City game, or it was 5 after the Man City game. Can't remember. But it wasn't in many games at all. The centre-back has been a huge problem for us. I mean, we never had a complete 2 a lot. When we had Varane and Martinez fit, they were excellent together. But Varane was never fit, and if Varane wasn't fit, Martinez wasn't fit. De Ligt hasn't been fit now, and Yoro's hasn't been very good. Lindelof was never that good either. Maguire's been in and out of the team. He had a bit of an injury as well. So we've never had that security at the back. To be a good team, you have to have that partnership. You've got to having a defensive line which play together a lot. That's why Arsenal's so good, because when they have that defensive line, they play together so much. Man City chop and change centre backs a lot. That's why they're never as secure at the back. When you have a secure back line who know each other, you can do really good things. That's why Chelsea were always good. I think John Terry never missed a game in his later years, when they won in 2015 or whatever it was. It's really important. But yeah, I haven't got much else to say. Patrick Dorgu, he's on his Gareth Bale arc. If you've seen all the memes, it's happening. From left back to winger, he's been fantastic recently. He really has. And I hope eventually, what I'd probably like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe we just keep it how it is for now. But we have it so we can play Dorgu and Cunha. And play Dorgu left back, right? And just maybe we have the ball enough, or we could be, when we eventually become ball dominant enough, that we can have Cunha and Dorgu like overlapping. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be amazing. But I just don't think we're quite, we're not good enough yet. I don't think we keep the ball well enough. You know, first half we were giving the ball away quite a bit, a little bit sloppy. But, you know, it's going to happen. You know, first half away at the Emirates, that's going to happen. You know, results. Even though we didn't play as well as we did last week, but let's be honest, Arsenal are a much better team structurally. It's much harder to play against. You know, we were away. Last week we were home. They're leading the Premier League title at the moment. They're the best team in Europe, arguably. I know I just slanted them about how they play, but in terms of how hard they are to beat, you know, and where they are, they've only conceded, 2 goals in the Champions League so far in like 8 games. Like, that's unbelievable. For us, it's just amazing. Like, Amorim might have got a result. Amorim got a few results against the top teams, you know, away at Anfield, for example. But there was just certain games, you know, it was results for him. He won 38% of his games, which is dreadful for a top manager in the top 6. It's just nice to see us actually get the result. Like, that could have stayed to all. I think that would have stayed to all under Amorim, which is a good result away. You know what I mean? But we just didn't give up, and we just, like I said, we were pressing in the 92nd minute. And it was just, you could tell the Arsenal players, they didn't know what to do. And I just think, fair play to him. Fair play to him. Now, I was going on to saying this earlier. The real test, right? I was saying this week was a step up from last week, which is obvious, right? Don't have to explain why. Away at, you know, the Emirates, and Arsenal harder team to beat. This is I think, is it Fulham at home next? I can't be bothered checking my phone over there. Fulham at home next. That is the real challenge. When we play a team where we're going to be the more ball dominant team, is going to be the real test, because we've seen what we've done today and what we've done against Man City. I don't want to say we've seen it before, because we haven't in certain ways, but yeah, we have beaten big teams over the years. Like, that's not really been a problem. Our biggest problem we've had since Fergie's left is not beating the teams that we should beat. The league is much harder now. Like, Fulham, Harry Wilson, you know, the boy, the Welsh wizard, he's a match winner. He can, at Old Trafford, he can pick one out the top corner. Was it Wilson who scored a free kick against De Gea, top bins? I'm sure it was, when he plays for Bournemouth. Well, he might have scored 2 free kicks against us, actually, thinking about it. I can't remember. But anyway, you know, he's a match. If we're 1-0 up, he can bang when top bins, go 1-1, and they get a draw out of it. So they're not a team to mess with, Fulham. No team are, really. But Fulham at home is a statement. We're going to have more of the ball. We need to win at least a nice 2-0, I'll be happy with. You know what I mean? 3-1, you know. Or even if we only win 1-0 or we win 2-1. It's the way we play. We need to look good, get chances, take our chances. And if we win 2-1, but, you know, we've taken our chances and we've played well, and we've had a lot more of the ball. Like, we should be, what I'm trying to say is we should be having more of the ball. At home to Fulham, I want to see us have 55 to 60% possession, and I want us to have a lot of chances, which statistically under Amorim, we were one of the best teams in terms of attacking football, chances created, XG, shots on target. We actually were. So I think it actually did improve under Amorim. I will give him that, but we just lacked the formation. We could all see it just wasn't working, and the players lost belief. But now we really have a real chance to go for it. I think we're up into 4th now. Open the title up for the title race. Hopefully, I can't believe I'm saying it, but hopefully Man City get there and do it. But yeah, it's a brilliant day. And, you know, we got 1 game a week now for the rest of the season, not in any competition, so full fitness. We should be playing our best players every game, and that's that. And there's no reason why we don't get top 4 at all. And yeah, it's all about next week. You know, next week I'm going to make another video I hope I can sit here and say we've played well, we've dominated the ball, created chances, taken the chances, and we get a result. Because ultimately, results are the main thing that we've struggled with. We've had games we've played okay in. You know, like I said, Amrin this year, we've had some Arsenal. Perfect at home. We were the better team. Didn't take our chances. We had Bayunda in goal, made a stupid mistake, and don't get the result, you know? Was it Villa or Newcastle? I can't remember. Played well, didn't take chances. So yeah, that's the reaction. Bring it on to next week, and yeah,